Midnight Talk. This is a show where we discuss the week in Humboldt, the local issues, and the local personalities with some local personalities. I'm Talvi Fried, and I'll be your local host for the next hour. Tonight, our topic of the century, kind of, because it's been a long time coming to have everybody up and healthy and to have an actual summertime where festival season's going to happen. The upcoming Kinetic Universe has several events popping up. Certain things are going to be rearranged. So this year, the Rutabaga Ball is taking place Saturday, May 27th at Synapsis in Eureka. And the Kinetic Grand Championship race is taking place pretty much all over Humboldt County. If you miss it, you had to intentionally miss it, and you're not cool. So be cool and be there. It's going to be happening over Memorial Day weekend, of course. And are you going to be attending the Rutabaga Ball? Why would you not attend the Rutabaga Ball? Joining us tonight, we've got Cody Hoyt, volunteer coordinator for the Kinetic Grand Championship. We have Jessica Pearson, aka Queen Glitterina Sassy Pants, all hail the queen, as well as Stephanie Knowles, Princess Mustachio, and who happens to be co-hosting the Rutabaga Ball this year, which let's start off, Queen Glitterina, let's start off with questioning you. I get to pepper you with questions first. What is the Kinetic Grand Championship?
What is the Kinetic Grand Championship? Well, it's the most amazing thing in the entire world, first of all. Second, it is a all manpower, person-powered art installations that travel from Arcata all the way to Ferndale for a 3-day amazing race. So if you haven't seen it, get out there and see it. It starts at the noon bell, the 27th on the plaza. And it's spectacular. It's the best people. It's the best time. The art is amazing. And just what they do is just over the top crazy. They go through the bay. They go through the sand. Dead Man's Drop is scary. So it's just great. Get out there.
I'm just going to have all of you kind of say what the Kinetic Grand Championship is, because I think to everybody it can be a little bit different. And I know there's a professional side of the Kinetic Grand Championship, but there's also just the fun side. There's the spectator side, there's the racer side, the pilot side, and of course, we're here with people who are kind of, well, we're all really deep in the kinetic world. So I'm Princess Dear to Heart, for those who are unaware. I am also Rutabaga royalty, and I will take that, I would take that title too. I want it on a gravestone if I end up with one, because it's awesome. And I earned it rightfully so by being ridiculous. And that's amazing. So Cody, what is the Kinetic Grand Championship?
Oh my, the Kinetic Grand Championship is all glory all the time. It is a 3-day man-woman person-powered event. People make these big old sculptures, big giant sculptures. They look really cool. They're person-powered. They go over the road. They go over the dunes. They go over the water. We get to see some glorious flips, some glorious flails, and just a lot of glory. It's really fantastic that an area this small has such a big 3-day event that people come from all over to attend. So yeah.
Princess Mustachio, what's your take on the Kinetic Grand Championship?
Well, to me, the Kinetic Grand Championship is a 3-day celebration of everything fun, everything glorious and amazing. It's a 3-day human-powered race on the land and the sea, not in the air, but sometimes with the biggest flip, you might get airborne.
Sometimes.
But it's a really Humboldt County coming together with people from all over, coming to celebrate art and mechanics and community.
You did bring up the mechanic part, which I think is one of the coolest aspects for engineering type nerds. There's something for everybody in the Kinetic Grand Championship, because, and I know a few of us have done different roles within it, and being able to help build a machine or even having any part of it adds another aspect that's just really cool. It makes me be like, oh, I felt important because I could help create this machine that can do all of that and look really cool. So this year there's some changes happening And Queen Glitterina, the Rutabaga Ball, is happening the same weekend as the Kinetic Grand Championship, which we went into what the Kinetic Grand Championship is. What's the Rutabaga Ball?
The Rutabaga Ball. So the race has a Rutabaga queen each year. I am a queen. We never give up our crowns. Here they are. Or our princesses never give up their titles. I can promise you that. I'm Queen Glitterina 2014. So each year there's a queen, and she is chosen at the Rutabaga Ball. And this year we are doing it the first day of the race. It is the first time we've done it that way in my working with the ball. I know it was done in different ways before. We used to do it the week before, but this year we're doing it the night of. And this is the reason, because we really wanted to include the spectators. We wanted to get spectators involved. We wanted to kind of share what the Rutabaga Ball is, how we vote for queen, all the stuff. So the people who would like to be queen, they will begin the day at the plaza. They will get some questions and answers from Cliff and Amy on stage there, introduce themselves, talk about their names and their characters. Then they're going to kind of campaign throughout the day. And then they will end up on stage at Halverson Park for the end of the race. Again, I'm sure Amy and Cliff will have many amazing questions for them. Then the Rutabaga Ball itself will start. Doors open at 7 at Synopsis in Eureka. And at 8 o'clock, the show will start. And we're going to do their talent. And we're going to do some questions and answers. So it's a little different this year, other than the day itself, is we're not doing the bay crossing, which is usually part of the ball. It's the middle, the bathing suit part of the pageant, we'll call it, which is not what we do. But we figure they're going to be out all day and all over. So we're going to skip that, just to do talent, and then we're going to crown them. There's going to be a people's choice element to the voting. So that means as many people that they can get to the ball to vote for them is better for them. And we're just really excited. We already have 5 contestants. So 5 is that's a big number for us. So we're really excited. And they will be the queen for the entire year. And what we do is we promote the race. We're kind of the cheerleaders. We're just there to have fun and support the racers and, answer questions, and I love the spectators.
Princess Mustachio, both me and you have run for Rutabaga Queen before, though I want to ask you, what was your experience like running?
My experience was one of chaos, but magic. I feel like the Rutabaga Ball is a pageantry of mocking pageantries, really. Anything goes in the pageants. The crazier, the better. The more artistic, the better. It's a celebration of our wild and creative sides. And it was a lot of fun. Everyone was so nice. I remember we're all like a giant family. All the contestants are.
There's definitely a lot of support within the community for everybody part of it. So, I mean, just saying, if you're out there listening to this program right now and being like, I feel like I don't have enough art in my life, come on out. There's a reason that Humboldt County is known for being highest artist per capita in the country. And it's because of events like the Kinetic Sculpture Race, where we're allowed to express our creativity and in a really safe and fun environment that just has big giant machines involved too. It's really cool. The Rutabaga Ball it's kind of like a deep history there, and I'm not sure, perhaps Queen Glitterina, you might know best, though. What is the history of the Rutabaga Ball? Like, why this random thing? Because it wasn't to begin with. I mean, the Kinetic Sculpture Race, for those who are unaware, I believe was just Hobart Brown and his friend racing on tricycles, and somehow it turned into this, and now there's a Rutabaga Ball, which I feel like there's people who've heard of, I've heard of the sculpture race, but they're like, Rutabaga, what? Why Rutabagas?
So, and of course, I'm going to forget her name at this very moment, but 30 years ago, she decided that she was going to be the rutabaga queen, and she crowned herself, and that was the very first rutabaga queen. And she just was part of the race. That's part of kinetics, is that you can be whoever you want to be, and we have just created a little more tradition by having the ball. I know that there's been balls, I believe, for 22 years. I've gone all the way back like 12 years, maybe 13 years now. And it's also, in the past, it's been a big fundraiser for KU, for Kinetic Universe, trying to help support the race, because the race is all volunteers and donations and sponsors. So, but that's the ball was created by the queens to celebrate the queens, to name a new queen, and for queens to get glory, truthfully. So it's our ball.
Note from my producer, Barbara Ludwig was the first queen.
Oh, thank you. I knew, yes, Barbara. Yeah,
I'm forgetting what her title was.
She just crowned herself queen, and then when the rutabaga queen, I know, I'm not exactly positive how the rutabaga part came into it. Truthfully, I'm a terribly uneducated queen, apparently.
I believe she. Sorry. I believe she actually did just declare herself rutabaga queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah, it was rutabaga queen.
I mean, I think it's great because there is this unofficial security team too, the Kinetic Cops, that literally run around and pass out like actual tickets, and sometimes spectators really think they're in trouble. But that all started from one of the queens going, I am the queen of the Kinetic Cops, and now we have Kinetic Cops. And
Yes.
Kind of like that, you just create whatever persona you want, and you can change it every year, and everyone will just thumbs up and go, great, awesome.
Yep.
So speaking of volunteerism, this is the Kinetic Sculpture Race is all volunteer. Nobody's getting paid for this. I mean, I think everybody wishes we were, but we all take time off of our jobs and everything else in order to have a good time. And somehow I went from, what is this magic, to now I'm way deep in it. and that's how it happens. You show up once and go, this is a lot of fun. And now you're involved, which is also a lot of fun. Though on the volunteer front, Cody, what's it like with all the volunteers, all these space cadet artsy folks?
Oh my. There's volunteers in every shape and size. I started volunteering with the CCC crew. It was my first year. I believe it was 2014 or 15. I'm not positive. And the volunteer coordinator during that time pulled me off of that crew to come and volunteer for her. And it was legitimately the best time I've ever had in my entire life. Which is why when I got the chance to do it, I snagged my chance to become the volunteer coordinator myself and try and give other people that experience. It's a lot of fun. I've been in every position, just being right there during the water crossing, being a dead man's drop, forming a human line as the vehicles go down, so our glorious spectators don't get hurt. There's a million different things to do. There's a million different places to be. You can be at the plaza. The plaza is a pretty amazing spot to be. It's one of the best spots to be on day one. You get to see all the vehicles in all their glory. You get to meet the beautiful the riders, the people that ride on top of them. What are those racers? That's what they're called.
Racers and pilots.
Racers and pilots. You get to get some pretty cool swag if you're lucky enough.
Oh yeah, the bribes.
The bribes.
Let's talk about bribes.
I love bribes.
Do
you have a favorite?
I'll keep talking about stuff, but the whole point of the show is I'm the host, and I just get excited about this stuff.
I have so many good bribes.
Explain to people what the bribes are.
So bribe culture is a culture of gift giving in the Kinetic Universe. I feel like it started out as kind of a joke, and it's turned into this very big, awesome culture. It's kind of like a tit for tat kind of thing. You do something nice for me, I do something nice for you. A lot of teams these years, they end up just giving out a lot of really cool swag. You get little swag bags. I have this really cool keychain from Sushi Blue last year. That was a really exciting one. I have a crab claw from the Crabba team back in the day. I can go and get that in a little bit, but it's just actually missing a claw right now. I have to go and reattach that.
I love how everyone's grabbing their favorite bribes.
Come on, what do
I should have grabbed
What
it
do I have?
closer.
I have a bunch on my jacket.
Yeah, so
I
for
have
those who are listening, you can catch the program playing on Channel 11 Access Humboldt over the weekend. So you can see all our faces, as well as a really cool crown from Queen Glitterita and all the swag that everybody's now shoving into their cameras.
Yeah, I got all of these. I got tags. I have a wall full of other things over on the other side of my room as well.
And
I
people
would've-
get very creative with bribes. So there are parts of the race as a pilot you don't have to bribe anybody. But if you don't, your life may be a little bit more difficult. Let's say that, the cutoff time for one spot is here. You throw some bribes, suddenly you're 5 minutes earlier than you thought. Wow, you read your clock wrong. And it's just a really ridiculous, silly culture, though. What I've seen people doing, at least recently and even in years past, is the reduced, reuse, recycle mentality of creating bribes out of alternative materials and creating really cool things. It's like, I have a little top hat that looks like I think when I looked at it closely, I was like, this is made out of old plastic containers and pieces of fabric that was probably, from some, I don't know how people come up with some of these things, but it's really cool to see. I was like,
It's pretty amazing. I got a wooden mortar and pestle one time from this guy who really wanted to drive his car down to water exit under Ferndale Bridge. I was like, you can't go down. I was working on the road this year, and I was like, you can't go down there. And he's like, what if I gave you this? And it was just a full size, giant wooden mortar and pestle. And he just handed that to me. I was like, what if I gave you that? I was like, you know what? You can go, but they're going to tell you the same thing at the end of the road. And this guy came back 2 minutes later, like, you keep that, and drove away.
oh my God.
He got past, though.
I don't know.
I've bribed my way in a couple places. Let's be honest. Come on, a good bribe can get you pretty far in kinetics.
All you have to do is wear your crown.
Yeah, well, that's true. I am a queen.
And good bribes tend to get good bribes back as well.
It's true.
If you come filled with bribes, you tend to leave filled with bribes.
Which for a first-time spectator, I don't you don't have to bring bribes. You do not have to dress up. I recommend, if you're unsure, you will completely be alleviated of all fears just showing up on any of the days to any of the events, whether it's start of a day race or the end of a day race or anywhere in between, because, well, we'll get into that. Let's take a moment to take a musical break, and then we'll get back into us geeking out on the kinetic sculpture race. Welcome back. I'm your local host, Talvi Fried, here on Thursday Night Talk. We're here with Cody Hoyt, volunteer coordinator for the Kinetic Grand Championship, Jessica Piercing, aka Queen Glitterita Saucy Pants, as well as Stephanie Knowles, Princess Mustachio, who happens to be co-hosting the Rutabaga Ball this year, which is very exciting if you're just tuning in. We are discussing the Kinetic Grand Championship, the Rutabaga Ball, and we just discussed what it is, as well as what bribes are. I'd like to get into lore in a moment, though. If you want to call us and talk to any of us live on air, fair warning, it is live on air. The phone number to call, you're going to need a lot of numbers, so write this down: 669-900-6833. Again, 669-900-6833. You're going to need a meeting ID number to join that call. The number for that is 511-886-8501. That's 511-886-8501. Cody, I deserve to be laughed at for having a phone number that difficult for my show. We're working on it. We are working on it. It's just, though, well, I'm like, should we go day by day with the Kinetic Grand Championship here? Because I feel like preparing people could be, I think the best thing that happened to me was my friend said, I've got a spot on my team. Do you want to be pit crew? Show up on the plaza at 7 a.m. And I showed up on the plaza for my first kinetics and I went, what is this? And like, they're throwing costume pieces at me and being like, change now. Okay, go. And it was just a very wild, fun ride. It was magical. I had no idea what exactly to expect. And I think that makes life a lot of fun sometimes to not fully know. But for those who are extremists in planning and like to know everything in advance, who wants to start with day one?
Can I actually start with how to volunteer?
Yes, for those who want to volunteer and don't want to be expected.
So a lot of people show up day one on the plaza and they can sign up that way, but we're going to have you sign up at kineticgrandchampionship.com/volunteers. There's a form to fill out. There's a code of conduct on there. And if you come looking for me on the plaza to come and sign up, I'm going to point you directly to that website. We will have some little iPads set up so we can have you fill them out there as well. So filling that out and coming to the volunteer meeting that's going to be at noon this coming Sunday is the best way to find that. And you can find the information for that volunteer meeting at kineticgrandchampionship.com/volunteers.
Where is the volunteer meeting?
The volunteer meeting is over Zoom, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home.
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
Obviously, I love that. So that's how to volunteer. Let's go. So that's day one is starting on the plaza. I think we just lost Stephanie, but that's okay. Day one is happening on the plaza to start with and ending at Synapsis. And that's a long way to go. So we start at the plaza, then go to not Matol,
Manila.
Manila.
Thank you.
Manila.
Like the Dead Man's Drop area, which that's a really fun spot too.
Yep.
I recommend getting to whichever spot you choose. If you're a spectator, get there fairly early. It gets really, really crowded. There's not a lot of parking spaces, so be sure to carpool or ride your bikes.
Ride your bike.
Yeah.
Bring bug spray.
Bug spray.
Water.
Bug spray for
They will eat
Dead
you
Man's
alive.
Drop.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wear sunscreen, bring bug spray. I mean, I guess we can talk about how to survive the Kinetic Grand Championship at the end.
You'll need a full tent setup.
Right.
You're...
That's kind of day two.
That is kind of day
Because
two.
day two starts at the water crossing, which let's talk about the water crossing for a moment, because every year it's different depending on which way the tides go. Usually there's two water crossings. This year, because the Eel River is flowing really heavily, they're not going to have the final day water crossing, which is a bummer for me because I love that danger aspect, but I'm also not piloting anyway this year. And it's better to be safe than sorry, despite the fact that even the sheriffs have been out on the Eel River underneath Fern Bridge having so much fun. I've had to call them out for trying to help their friends, like by making waves and trying to give them the wake to push them. I was like, that is no, which is really fun to be like, sheriffs, we're playing by the kinetic rules here. While obeying all other laws, of course. Though Though someone just start talking about day one before I keep rambling.
Okay. So day one, you want to, so just so everybody knows, there will also be there will be spectator guides with the route of the entire race in this week's journal. And then they'll also be at Kinetic Universe, kineticgrandchampion.com by Monday. So you will have an option to see or have a physical copy if you want it of the race course. So that'll make it a little easier to get where you want to get. So day one is the plaza. You get there early. Look at all the teams are going to do their pageantry. They're going to do their break check. You can walk around and see the sculptures. You can see all of us looking amazing, having fun. There'll be people on stage talking about KU, talking about the ball, talking about everything. Really, it's just getting to see all the sculptures in one place for me, and kind of seeing everybody. It's like coming home for the weekend and getting to see the family. Then they will ride out to Manila, where there will be, I believe there'll be some entertainment, and that's where they change into their sand gear. They go across the beach to Dead Man's Drop, which you can, if you want to go to Dead Man's Drop, you want to park close to the Samoa Bridge and then walk the trail. You'll see it. There'll be volunteers to tell you where to go. Bug spray, bug spray, bug spray, bug spray. Dead Man's Drop is really fun. It's a little bit of a walk, so if you have any kind of accessibility problems, let's talk to volunteers before you start that trail. Then they'll go across the Samoa Bridge and end at Helveson Park, where Humboldt Made is putting on a big thing. There'll be some people on stage again. There'll be some stuff going on. The racers will stop there for the night. And then you head on over to Synopsis to see who's going to be the new queen.
Which is going to be a wild experience.
Which is going to be so much fun.
With 5 contestants. When I ran, there was 3. I think last year there was 2, which 2, which that was still so much fun, even with just 2 or 3 contestants. And I would like to say there's only 5, because that doesn't mean more contestants can't still join, correct?
Oh yeah, no, you can, we prefer to get the applications by the 1st, but it's Kinetics, and that's ridiculous. We've had people show up day of, I'm here to run. Here you go. You're going to be on the 6th spot. You got it.
Which is going to be super fun for me as a stage manager. I'm like, oh gosh, where are we even going to fit all of these people? But that's the fun of it.
Yep, that's the fun.
We'll be standing on each other's shoulders, cheering on the future princesses and new queen. Yeah. Which that is day 1.
That is day 1.
I can take day 2.
Take day 2.
Awesome. Let's talk about day 2. So water entrance this year is going to be under the Samoa Bridge. We tend to switch each year between the Samoa Bridge and the Werfinger building. Last year, I believe we entered in the Werfinger building. We left at the bridge. This year, we'll be starting the bridge, exiting at the Werfinger building. It's a pretty phenomenal event because people get to go down the steep slope and possibly flip. It's one of the sites for our Golden Flipper Awards that we give out on day 3.
Which I think is one of the scariest, just to talk, it can be somewhat dangerous piloting these machines. So the machine I piloted was the Hoosier Daddies, named after the Hoosier tires, and because it's a cool name. And
it's a great name. I enjoy it.
Right, thank you. And that's literally a 2-ton machine. It's never flipped. It's a really stable machine, thanks to Carl Mueller and his, he won the Glorious Founder Award one day for his engineering skills.
But what if?
Which it is an incredible machine. And I'm bummed it's not racing this year, though. Imagine a machine that can weigh anywhere from, they can weigh up to a couple tons, and flipping in water is a terrifying thing that can happen. It happened to Tempest Fugitives one year, which Queen Betty Crafter was underwater for like a minute solid, which it's scary, but it's also really entertaining to watch. So for those who, it's entertaining to live and it's entertaining to watch, because it does have that edge of, oh, we're going to go in this water. It's Humboldt Bay, one of the most dangerous bays on the planet.
Danger is
Like,
always a little fun to watch, though.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Danger is a little fun to watch. Princess
So
Mustachio agreed, I think.
so then they paddle, what is it? It's a good 2 miles, isn't it? Down towards the Wharfinger building.
Mhm.
And then they'll be leaving at the Wharfinger building. That is also a decent, most people tend to watch at the water entrance, so it's gonna be some bridges here. But you can also go and get a good look at them at the Wharfinger building too as they're leaving.
And all
At-
along the
honestly,
boardwalk.
all along the boardwalk and the water trail right there too is a fantastic place to watch. After that, they go to, what is it? Eureka Natural Foods, where they take a little snack break, have a little lunch, and then they go along the Hikashari to the park and ride. After that, they go all the way down to along the highway, or the trail along the highway towards the wildlife sanctuary. And there's a really cool little setup there. It's not really for spectators, it's for brake check. So I wouldn't recommend going there if you want to see the vehicles. It's not a great place to go. If you want to catch the vehicles before they disappear along the long road out to Cannibal Island Crab Park, I would suggest going into Lolita and checking it out there, because they go along the one of the roads down there in Lolita. I can't remember exactly which road it is. I guess I could look it up.
I think it's Cannibal Island Road.
It is Cannibal, yeah. They go along Cannibal Island Road, and after that point, we disappear for a nice little camping trip on the beach.
Quiet one.
A
It's very mellow.
it's a
Quiet,
very quiet camping trip.
Yeah, everybody's really
everybody-
exhausted from the
Yeah.
days before. So,
We
so
tend-
we have to wake up early the next day for day 3. So let's get into day 3.
Stephanie, do you know much about day 3?
I can give you the basics. So they wake up from Crab Park, the quiet camp out where we're all asleep. And then they are not going to do the Eel River water crossing this year, but they will start along the Cannibal Island Road going back up. And then they head out towards Ferndale, which is the most, Ferndale is like the end of the glory trip. You see, you go for the glory. Ferndale is the end of the line. We will find out the winners. We will find out the losers. But in Kinetics, there are no real losers at all. You just failed gloriously, and it's beautiful. And then we'll be having a big, there'll be live music going on. You'll have lots of vendors, and you'll get to watch all the machines come in and see them up close and personal along the Ferndale Main Street.
You'll see a lot of people dancing in the streets in Ferndale. And if you, all the queens and princesses will be
It's my
breaking
favorite.
it down. There will be I think a DJ there in the streets. I know there's going to be announcements about the finish races there. So if you're like, gee, I haven't visited Ferndale in a minute, this is the day to do it. Definitely go stop there. There's great food down there too for spectators. So just saying, it's a really great time, and everybody's kind of riding that like they're riding that high of like, oh, we just rode 50 miles on these sculptures over 3 days, or followed the sculptures, and so it's a really great experience. Then there is the awards ceremony, which Princess Mustachio, would you like to share a bit about that?
I've been to one a ceremony, and it's a big old event. We all gather in the Ferndale fairgrounds, the Ferndale Fairgrounds. I wanted to call it a farmhouse for some reason.
That's where we always.
And we all gather there, and we get to hear, that's where you find out about the Golden Flipper Awards, who aced, who didn't ace, who has the best pageantry. You'll get to see the teams a lot of times perform their last little bits of pageantry of the year. And you'll get to find out who has the most glory. Even though we all have glory, some will have more near the end.
That's a question. Are spectators allowed at the final dinner or award ceremony?
It is not an open invite. I believe there may be tickets available to some people,
So
depending
that's,
on how many people are how many racers we have, how much space we have. I'm not the person in charge of that, so I wouldn't be able to exactly tell you.
but that is
Um,
incentive for people to be part of the race. If you want to experience all of it,
Absolutely.
the only way to do that is to be involved in the race. Though spectating is fun too, and there's a lot of cool old hotels in Ferndale, so you can go and party down there with us, and then tuck in for the night in a beautiful Victorian building.
And there are 41 different awards that are given out. From my count that I'm counting on the awards list, which you can go and look at all the awards that'll be given out if you go to kineticgrandchampionship.com/racers and look at the rule book.
Yes, which I love to do, though. Who wants to explain what acing means?
So I'm sorry, I'll stop it again. So some more hardcore racers decided to set up a harder set of rules. So there are a few different specifics that they have to do to be able to ace. If you want to know all the specifics, you can read the rule book, the link I just talked about. But it tends to be a lot of specific rules about not being able to push your vehicle. You have to stay within a certain range of your vehicle at all times. You have to camp next to your vehicle. You aren't allowed to. I believe you aren't allowed to push your vehicle. Those are some of like the basic rules, and I believe you also have to fill. You also have to get to certain spots within a specific amount of time. So
It's pretty extremist.
yeah, it's the hardcore rules.
It is, which is hilarious because there's one of the rules is that you have to have a comfort item or teddy bear on the machine at all times.
Yep.
With you must have this item or you cannot ace.
Yes.
You also there's one about extraterrestrials, I think, from the Paranormal Society. It's a little confusing. I'm forgetting it because I haven't piloted it for a couple of years, but I can't remember what it is. But you have to have some paranormal aspect to your machine. And these are all real rules. Wait, where can people find these rules again?
They are at kineticgrandchampionship.com/racers under the rulebook. And even if you have read the rulebook before, I'd recommend rereading it because I believe they all got reworked this year, or at least reframed. So I mean, I loved reading the old rulebook. It was a lot of fun, and this one's also a lot of fun. So I would give it a look if you're more interested in some of the rules.
So we're going to take another quick break. When we get back, let's start talking about the lore. I want to talk about some villains, man-eating crabs, and everything in between. So you're listening to Thursday Night Talks. I'll see you right back here in a moment. Welcome back to Thursday Night Talk. I'm Talvi Fried. I'm the host of this show. Also, I am Princess Dear to Heart. I'm here with Cody Hoyt, who is the volunteer coordinator for the Kinetic Grand Championship, Queen Glitterina Sassy Pants, aka Jessica Pearson, who is our Royal Highness for the day, talking about the Rutabaga Ball and everything kinetics, as well as Stephanie Knowles, Princess Mustachio, who is glorious in all ways and is co-hosting the Rutabaga Ball. Who are you co-hosting with this year?
I'm co-hosting with Christoph.
Oh, awesome. That's right.
Yeah.
Which that is going to be a duo that I'm excited to see. Talk about some crazy energy that's going to be happening at the Rutabaga Ball.
Yeah.
Which, let's talk about the lore of the Rutabaga Ball, the Kinetic Grand Championship, because we talked about the who, what, where, when, and where people can find rules, how people can volunteer, all that good stuff. Though, tell me some juicy details on the Great Razuli. Why is he still banned from everything there?
Well, he has never been to a ball that I know of, but I don't, because why is he banned? Because he creates mischief and causes problems. And if a machine breaks down, you know he's been there. So we just know that he's trouble. That's all I know. I know there's more lore, but that's what I know. I know if there's trouble or somebody breaks down, he's been around.
You got to blame somebody, and it probably
Gotta blame somebody. Now, the queens have their own villain, sort of, and said villain is actually, she's running again this year. Kelsey, the green-eyed monster. She is a princess already, twice over. She does a lot. She's amazing. She does a lot of stuff for the race, but she is our villain. She is. If there's trouble at the ball, you know who did it. If there's somebody's going to grab that mic and call themselves a queen, you know who it's going to be. So. Like you said, if you want to have a role, you just make it and it's fun and you do it, and then you're part of the race.
And you can also be banned from the race, but still invited to the final dinner, because I love how Razuli, he's a real person, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Great Razuli is.
I thought he was a myth.
She great.
He's not. He's actually. He's a
100%
real, very,
real.
very, very real person. Maybe I'll have him on the show another day.
Very mischievous.
So I forgot where I was. Just my mind went.
Lore.
Well, yes, but he is a real person, but he's banned from the entire race except for the final dinner. So you can still get a meal, even if you're a villain, even if you're the most villainous villain of all the villains that the Grand Championship has ever seen. You're still invited for a meal with us. And I love that. And I love that sense of, okay, well, we're upset that things have happened, but we're still going to let you in. It's interesting.
You still get to play.
You still get to play.
Yeah.
So I know that there's been some disasters in the Bay, and I've heard that they're from man-eating clams. I've seen them a couple of times, especially during Rutabaga balls. They seem to make an appearance chasing princesses and queens around. Though have they just always been there? Where did these creatures come from?
Well, I believe that they've been the whole time the race has been there. They showed up. They are hungry for sculptures, and so they take them down. In the Bay, you better be careful. And at the ball, there's almost always a man-eating clam somewhere. Mm-hmm. I've seen ones the size of kiddie pools to tiny little ones made out of clay. So they can be anywhere. So be careful. Watch out.
Little known fact: sculptures are very tasty.
Very tasty.
Very tasty. 100%.
All that art.
They also like to eat the queens and all the princesses.
I've seen a princess or two eaten by a giant clam.
I had one chasing one.
Did you?
I did. It was bigger than me, and I'm not a tiny princess.
Did you fight it off?
I just hid behind the
A fun fact: a man-eating clam actually ate a crown. So hot she burns, lost her crown in the Bay, and it had to be pried out of the jaws of a man-eating clam by a spectator who dove in that day and found it for her. So they're everywhere.
What a glorious spectator.
Glorious.
I know.
Glorious.
Let's talk about how spectators can be glorious, because I've had interesting spectators who think it's really awesome to, grab pieces of the sculpture as the man-eating clams are trying to eat them and just take them as a souvenir, which, more power to you. Though what makes a spectator a great spectator that deserves lots of bribes so they don't have to take things from sculptures.
My first year, I got stuck on the Ferndale Bridge. The Ferndale side, I got stuck out there because my ride hadn't come to get me, and I had a spectator. I started walking to Ferndale, and I had a spectator stop, and it was this crazy, wild-looking guy, and he stopped. He was like, "You look like a volunteer. Do you need a ride?" and he swooped me all the way to Ferndale. It was glorious. But that was a good spectator right there.
That's a great spectator. That is in the spirit, the true spirit of the glorious founder. Which that's more lore. The glorious founder is somebody that we have not yet spoken about much. I did mention Hobart Brown earlier.
This race started what, 1969. I definitely don't have a cheat sheet pulled up over here. And it was just a two block mad dash through the streets of Ferndale. And over the last 50, what annual year are we on now? I do not know.
52.
52? And that's pretty glorious because it's the race is extended over the last 52 years to 50 miles.
Wow. Gotta keep adding a mile every year now.
Oh no, I feel like we're stuck. We could go all the way to Fortuna. I don't know if they'd be very happy with us down there. We're a little rowdy.
The Kinetic Grand Championship suddenly rolls into Fortuna. That's
like what, nobody.
I'm surprised. I mean, I guess because it started in Ferndale, which I mean, it's interesting how over time the opinions of the race have changed, because it did start with Hobart Brown just having fun, and then now I think that every city pretty much sees it as a great opportunity to showcase their city and allow something really cool to happen. That is now there's kinetic sculpture races. There's 2 in Oregon. There's some across the country, not people piloting across the country. There's one that actually does involve air now, like it's air, water, and land, which is,
I didn't know that.
Well, supposedly, like, you're supposed to like dive off the cliff, and your machine is supposed to not break.
Oh, so it's like, is it into water or is it like you gotta glide?
Yeah, you dive into the water.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it.
That's pretty fly.
Right, you get it because it's fly.
Yeah, get it because.
See, kinetic people are just nothing but punny, interesting, intelligent, and beautiful people. So everyone should be part of this.
It really is the best group. I was newer to kinetics when I ran for Queen Dynamite. I had been in her entourage 5 years before, and I'd done some race. Some of my kids did some of the race and stuff, but I find that I leave the weekend so energized and recharged and full of so much love and gratitude for the art and the people that we have in Humboldt County. The fact that they all come together and do this, and the spectators, I don't know, it's just a really fun, amazing weekend. Everybody's there for each other. If somebody needs something, all you have to do is look around and somebody will help you. And I really love that. If you're hungry, you'll get a sandwich. I mean, it's just a bunch of really cool people coming together that have worked so hard to get these machines going. And then we just have fun all weekend, which was Hobart Brown's whole theory on this. Is we do this so that kids know that it's okay to grow up, because adults can still have fun. So that's kind of what we do. That's why you see us dancing in the street, giving out bribes, being silly, wearing costumes, because we can.
Right. I think from an outside perspective, I imagine, because a lot of my life I was told, it's time for you to grow up and let go of all the, like, you act too silly. And I definitely found my people here. That's, it's why do you have to stop enjoying life? Why do you have to stop enjoying the little things? Why can't you, create a big old art machine and drive 50 miles with a bunch of your friends and sing silly songs?
Shouldn't I?
Why shouldn't you?
Why can't I?
Well, why not have fun? And it really was, I think, I have known people who think that adulthood should just be adulthood and boring and sitting in an office, and okay, we'll do that too. So have fun.
One of the strangest feelings I tend to feel is right after the race. It's while leaving the awards ceremony. It's driving in my car alone back to Eureka, where I live. And I get this weird disassociative sort of silence because it's a week full of nothing but cheering and yelling and excitement. I've spent with some of my favorite people on the planet, and leaving all that, it seems so surreal afterwards. It's that kind of event. So that's that. I just want to bring that up because it's just one of the only times I ever experienced that. And yeah, you can experience that too if you come and volunteer with me. I'll bribe you with a shirt.
There are some really cool T-shirts that you can
get.
get.
We have a brand new design on our volunteer T-shirts this year.
Ooh.
Collectible, even.
You're gonna have to wait to see what color they are. I'll tell you what color mine is. It's blue.
Blue.
My shirt's gonna be blue.
It's very exciting.
Blue.
Is the Rutabaga Ball accepting volunteers now, or? We are.
Kinetic and the ball are always accepting volunteers, please. Of course, we have a lot of stuff going on. You can volunteer to come and help out that night. You can volunteer to help out with the race any of the days. But like Cody said, definitely go to the website and fill out your paperwork before, because we can't take you if you haven't filled that paperwork out. But yeah, and if you're too late to volunteer for the ball, just come and hang out and see all the fun. You can get your tickets on brown paper tickets. That's the best place. You can get all the information on Kinetic Universe for all of this stuff. You Kinetic Universe, and then go to whatever tab Rutabaga Ball that you want to talk about. Yeah. So, but you can always. I mean, we run on volunteers. The ground pounders, literally, I think, are the heroes of the race. I have nothing but they are amazing. They work so hard, and they keep it all going. And really, like my first year, I was like, oh, these are the folks. These are the real backbone of the race. I mean, all the racers are glorious. Well, the ground pounders are pounding this pavement, making sure that we can get to point A to point B safely. So
safely is the key term. It's a lot of work to make sure the paths are clear. There's people who scope things out weeks in advance to make sure there's no, hazardous situations that pilots could be going through or vehicles could be dealing with for spectators. And people spend years sometimes on these machines.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Another group of volunteers are also the kinetic medics. And then they're always giving out water and helping out people who are injured. If you feel something's wrong, go to a kinetic medic and they'll be able to get you help.
They'll be wearing bright red shirts with red crosses on them, or with white crosses on them.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's no Queen of the Medics.
Maybe there will be.
I'm just running for that now. Okay,
I know, right?
I know one person I have in mind.
Right.
With that how to save a life mentality.
I like it.
Safety third.
So we're about to go to round robin, which means everybody has about 2.5-3 minutes to talk about whatever they're feeling. You can let it come from your heart. You can go into more logistics of kinetics. It's whatever you want people who are listening or watching this on YouTube or TV to take away. So let's start the round robin off with Cody.
Hi, it's me, Cody. I personally am feeling very overwhelmed right now. I've had a lot of work that has been piling up. I'm doing my day job. I'm doing this job. I have a couple of meetings a week. I'm trying to convince volunteers at all times to come and hang out and volunteer with me. And it's been a lot. I started this job last year, and I didn't expect to be good at it. I mean, it was just me starting off trying to be in charge of a bunch of people who also didn't really know what they were doing. And last year was a blast, and I had a fantastic time. It was a great way to restart the kinetic engine after a couple of years of not having it. This year, I'm back in full force. I'm ready. I gained so many useful talents and knowledges from being the volunteer coordinator last year, and I really can't wait to see all your pretty faces and hang out and do it again this year. Like I said, if you have questions, if you have questions and you're on the course, I would recommend looking for somebody in a volunteer shirt. It'll probably say ground pounder on it. If you need medical support, please look for a medic. It'll be a red shirt. And if you have questions, I would look for the shiniest person. That is my last bit of advice. The shinier they are, the more knowledge they probably have, or the more people they know who have more knowledge than them.
Thank you, Coach. That was great.
Thank you.
Princess Mustachio, speaking of shiny people, shiny princesses.
Oh man, all those people are going to come to Glitterina, and I'm really excited about the Kinetics. It's my favorite thing to do every year in Humboldt County. It is it's like I feel like I'm going to a giant reunion of my friends and family and all of my art heads. And if you have never been able to check out the Kinetic Grand Championship, do it. Seriously, just checking it out for 20 minutes on one of the days, you'll stay for 40, you'll stay for 60, and then you'll find yourself going to the Rutabaga Ball right after, and you'll find yourself 5 years later totally invested in kinetics, because it's an infectiousness of happiness and joy and glory, and a lot of love. There's a lot of love put into making this magic happen.
Thank you, Princess Mustachio, aka Stephanie Knowles. You're gonna do I'm looking forward to your hosting the Rutabaga Ball with your co-host, because it's just gonna add. This is the first year you're doing it, so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. You've definitely hosted other things, but first Rutabaga, which. It's just going to be some good vibes happening. It's going to be lots of good vibes. So Queen Glitterina, what would you like our listeners to take with them?
Well, I'd like to talk about the ball because I am a queen after all. We would love you guys to come out to the ball, support the ball. It's so much fun. You get to see a whole lot of really amazing talent. Again, doors open at 7 at Synopsis, which is at 1675 Union Street in Eureka. It is street parking, so come early so you don't have to walk too far. We will have for freshmen snacks. There'll be a bar. Let's see, one of our queens, Queen Betty Crafter, will be doing the snacks, and it is I got to read it. Sorry. The all ages Six Rivers Charter High School sourced. They're doing all the concessions, and that team is actually, she's racing with that team, or they're racing and she is supervising. So being a queen, you get to do a lot of really amazing things. So I definitely, if you come to the ball, check it out. Next year, maybe you want to run. We have queens in local government. We have queens all over that do really amazing things, and our royal, the royal family, our princesses we are numerous, and we're really, we're trying to, one of our goals that we've been talking about with the queens is being able to do some kind of help with junior teams that want to race, and so doing some kind of scholarships, and that's what we're kind of hoping to do, a lot of fundraising to eventually get to that point. We're not there, but that's what we're working on. And that's part of what is going, the everything we make at the ball goes to the next ball, and then hopefully we can get some scholarships eventually, so that younger people, because it's expensive to have a huge team and do all of it. So we would like to help people with the race.
There's also the not to interrupt your 3 minutes, but to do just that, there's the kids kinetic
the kids classic. Yeah. That is Shoshona, Princess Shoshona, and everybody knows Shoshona. And one of our other queens, Queen Jane, I believe those are the two that are doing it, and they do it on the plaza. They did it. It's a really fun thing. So definitely that's on also Kinetic Universe. You can look at that. Go on. Your kids can go make little adorable sculptures and then do a little course, and it's all on the plaza, or it has been on the plaza. So that's another way, again, kids seeing that it's okay to grow up and have fun. So the ball, again, it's an all ages event. So bring the kids to, with you. We'll have some. So each year we have a Queeniversary. This year we have 2 Queeniversaries. We have Queen Lady Luck, who is her 10-year Queeniversary this year. We also have Queen Jane Doe. It is her 20-year Queeniversary. So we're talking some history. So,
also her evil twin is running this year.
Her
heard
older
something.
brother.
Her older brother is
His
running.
brother is running. Yes, they are one of our 5 contestants. So again, just a lot of fun. The ball will have, and we'll kind of have some games to go with the Lady Luck theme since her Queeniversary. We have some DJs that are going to be there. We have DJ Tim Brown and Mr. EW. And then also our amazing MCs. I'm really excited about this year. Usually Cliff and Amy do our MCing, and they do the entire race. And it would have been just crazy to try to get them to the ball after them starting on the plaza at, midnight to get there. So this year we're going to have 2 MCs, of course, Princess Mustachio, which you have all met, the glorious Princess Mustachio, and also Princess, Harold, Sir Kristoff, the man-made mermaid. He doesn't he goes from titles.
I love this. We are running out of time. So real quick, what's the website for people to go find out all of the info that we're talking about?
KineticUniverse.com.
Awesome.
KineticGrandChampionship.com.
Oh,
KineticGrandChampionship.com. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you had any questions about Kinetics, hopefully they've been answered, and we shall see you all over Humboldt County Memorial Weekend coming up very quickly. Thank you to everyone on the panel. If you have topics or suggestions for the show, email us at kzzh@accesshumboldt.net. And a reminder, the show replays on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. here on KZZH 96.7 FM. Watch the show on Access Humboldt's YouTube channel. You can see all of our smiling faces, the Queen's gorgeous crown and her gorgeous face as well as Princess Mustachio's absolutely glorious mustache. All right, thank you, everyone. I'm Talvi Fried. I'll see you next week right here on Thursday Night Talk.